A Hawaii ruling cites The Wire in rebuking a U.S. Supreme Court. Honolulu, AP. A ruling by Hawaii's High Court saying that a man can be prosecuted for carrying a gun in public without a permit cites crime drama TV series, The Wire, and invokes the spirit of Aloha in an apparent rebuke of a U.S. Supreme Court decision that expanded gun rights nationwide. The thing about the old days, the old days, said the unanimous Hawaii Supreme Court ruling issued Wednesday, borrowing a quote from Season 4, Episode 3 of the HBO series in expressing that the culture of the era from the founding of the country shouldn't dictate contemporary life. The opinion, authored by Justice Todd Eddins, goes on to say, the spirit of Aloha clashes with a federally mandated lifestyle that lets citizens walk around with deadly weapons during day-to-day activities. The ruling stems from a 2017 case against Christopher Wilson, who had a loaded pistol in his front waistband when police were called when a Maui landowner reported seeing a group of men on his property at night. The handgun was unregistered in Hawaii, and Wilson had not obtained or applied for a permit to own the gun, the ruling said. Wilson told police he legally bought the gun in Florida in 2013. Wilson's first motion to dismiss argued prosecuting him for possession of a firearm for self-defense violated his right to bear arms under the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It was denied. File. People walked past a gun club on June 23, 2022, in Honolulu. A ruling by Hawaii's High Court saying that a man can be prosecuted for carrying a gun in public without a permit uses pop culture references in an apparent rebuke of a U.S. Supreme Court decision that expanded gun rights nationwide. AP photo, Marco Garcia, file. Then in 2022, a U.S. Supreme Court decision known as New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Brune led to upending gun laws nationwide, including in Hawaii, which has long had some of the strictest gun laws and some of the lowest rates of gun violence. Just as the Brune decision came out, Wilson filed a second motion to dismiss. A judge granted the dismissal, and the state appealed. Wilson's attorney, Ben Lowenthal of the Hawaii Public Defender's Office, said Thursday his office is taking stock of our options, including seeking review from the U.S. Supreme Court. Wilson denied trespassing and said he and his friends were hiking that night to look at the moon and native Hawaiian plants, according to the recent ruling. Hawaii Attorney General Ann Lopez hailed the ruling as a landmark decision that affirms the constitutionality of crucial gun safety legislation. The ruling reflects a culture in Hawaii that's very resistant to change, and a judiciary and government that has been recalcitrant in accepting Brune, said Alan Beck, an attorney not involved in the Wilson case. The use of pop culture references to attempt to rebuke the Supreme Court's detailed historical analysis is evidence this is not a well-reasoned opinion, said Beck, who has challenged Hawaii's gun restrictions. Beck represents 3 Maui residents challenging a Hawaii law enacted last year prohibiting carrying a firearm on the beach and in other places, including banks, bars and restaurants that serve alcohol. A federal judge in Honolulu granted a preliminary injunction preventing the state from enforcing the law. The state appealed, and oral arguments are scheduled for April before the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Brune set a new standard for interpreting gun laws, that modern firearm laws must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. We believe it is a misplaced view to think that today's public safety laws must look like laws passed long ago, Eddins, of the Hawaii High Court, wrote. Smoothbore, muzzle-loaded, and powder and ramrod muskets were not exactly useful to colonial-era mass murderers. And life is a bit different now, in a nation with a lot more people, stretching to islands in the Pacific Ocean. Brune snubs federalism principles, Eddins wrote, asserting that under Hawaii's constitution, there is no individual right to carry a firearm in public. Dating back to 1800s, when Hawaii was a kingdom, weapons were heavily regulated, Eddins wrote. He noted that in 1833 King Kamehameha III promulgated a law prohibiting any person or persons on shore from possessing a weapon, including any knife, sword cane, or any other dangerous weapon. In a unanimous Hawaii Supreme Court opinion Wednesday, citing crime drama TV series, The Wire, and invoking the Aloha spirit, a ruling by Hawaii's High Court. File. Handguns are displayed at a gun shop on June 23, 2022. In Honolulu, a ruling by Hawaii's High Court saying that a man can be prosecuted for carrying a gun in public without a permit uses pop culture references in an apparent rebuke of a U.S. Supreme Court decision that expanded gun rights nationwide. AP photo, Marco Garcia, file.